Thanks so much for clicking on this video. I realize it's a really long one, so we've actually left really detailed time codes down in the descriptions to jump right to the part of the video that you want to see. Welcome back to a little series we're doing on glow-in-the-dark disc golf. And over the last little while, we've been seem to be acquiring different lighting solutions for your glow bag. We mentioned it in the last video, and if you haven't seen that video, I will leave a link down in the description. But basically, a UV flashlight is truthfully all you need. These other options are just if you're playing a lot more. We've been fortunate enough to receive some other options from some brands. Now, to test this stuff out today, we're going to be doing a mix of lights on where you can see my face and kind of lights off so that I can show off some of these items. I will be using today just a very simple Anker power bank. We will be doing a follow-up video as well on the Naqua power bank. They were great to send us one, and the only thing that I would say about that Naqua power bank is it only has one port on the bottom for, like, say, charging a phone, where this Anker one gives you two. And you'll see why two is kind of handy depending on the route you go. If you're looking for some sort of lighting solution that like lives sort of permanently in your bag during glow season, or again, if you have like a glow specific bag. We're gonna start with the very first one that we received, and that was this one right here. This one is called the Halo from DiscInTheDark. This is a very, very cool option. What you have here, a very simple design. You've got this sort of semi-translucent section in the middle here. You have probably some sort of like string of LED lights that are UV lights around the outside here, so that when you flip this on, which I should talk about too, the ports here, you've got an on-off switch. You've got a really tiny little pinhole there, and then you've got your USB port. So these actually charge on their own. This is your battery, this is your light, this is the whole device. And you will see a little bit later in this video why this is an extremely compelling option for some people. I was really fortunate. Halo sent us 3 of these. This first one here, you might have noticed that the light just kind of flipped on. It might be hard to see. Let's see if we can see that. And yeah, you can probably pick up that there's a bit of a like slight blue tinge to it now. I'll kick the lights off in a moment to talk about that too. These offer a variety of settings from I think 1 to 10 seconds. You can set these for, and you can set it in an always on mode if that's your preference. Now the always on mode is dimmer, and they did that intentionally, basically to conserve battery, because you have to understand that in a device like this, I imagine the battery is just this sort of small little pocket on the end here. So the always on mode isn't as bright as when you've got the timer. Now you might be wondering about this timer and how do I activate that timer? And that happens by one of these. You've got this little tiny, almost like a Bluetooth remote here that has got a little, you can either clip this onto your bag. I've even clipped this onto the sleeve of my jacket before so that I always have access to it, so that when I want to glow my disc, it's just a matter of pushing this little button and it activates that glow. So very customizable and so portable. No wires. This is such a clean system, and that's why we love the Halo. So I can set this for 5 seconds. I can set this for 10 seconds. Now, pros and cons to this. Again, obviously no wires, fantastic starting point, because without wires, it's just such a clean option. The other thing is, because this design is the way that it is, you can actually be glowing 2 discs at once. I can have one on one side and I can have another disc on the other, and when I activate the button, you're going to get glow, and you're going to actually be able to light 2 of these at a time. So one of the ways that I used this last year was I would throw this up in my putter pocket. I'd have a putter on one side, and on the back I would kind of keep that kind of like what we would call our glow oven or our disc oven, so that I could just drop this in the back here, hit the button, and while I'm walking up to my next shot, it's basically activating the glow in that plastic so that I can go up, throw my shot. It doesn't mean that when I get to my shot, I've got to be sort of fumbling in the dark to find the right disc, pull it out, kick out the flashlight, light the disc. It means that as I'm walking to it, I can hit this button. It's lighting up my disc as I'm walking, which is a very cool option. If there's a negative to that, it's that, you know, if you're out with friends and you're playing a social round and you get up to your disc, you realize, oh, you know what, I kind of forgot to hit the button while I was walking. It does require a bit of like thinking and planning for that. Now, at the same time, you get to your shot, you just hit the button, you wait your 10 seconds, you pull it out. Not a big deal, obviously. So yeah, I think that that's probably one of the huge pros of these. I loved it as a putter pocket option. They sent me a 3-pack, and they sell these either as a single or as a 3-pack. And these are great to keep in your bag. They don't take up a lot of space. Obviously, they're extremely thin. And because they're so thin, they are an amazing option for lighting your disc. Now, while these are so thin, and that's a huge advantage to them, I would also say to some extent it is a slight negative, because these can kind of easily get, I don't want to say like lost in your bag, but from using them last year and having them spread out, and I was, you know, kind of stoked to think, well, I've got, you know, 1, 2, and with 3 of these, I can light 6 discs basically with them. There'd be times when I would put discs back, and I mean, if you're someone that's really meticulous about putting discs back in your bag in the right way, then these kind of won't be a problem. But I found at times, you know, I'd put my disc back and I'd go to hit glow or hit the switch, and I'd get up to my disc and it wasn't lit up because I'd put the disc back in a spot that wasn't like up against one of these, because these really only work with 2 discs. So looking here, I've got to have basically 2 discs up against it. It'll light both sides. But, you know, to put a disc on this side, and, you know, that's where your halo is, this disc isn't going to capture that glow. It's not going to work through multiple discs. So you had to have it on both sides. So to me, this was an amazing solution for a putter pouch to be able to be like lighting up your putter, and, you know, or even if you didn't have any discs up top here and you could kind of carelessly drop one up top, you knew that it was going to glow it and you pulled it out. It's kind of like those, the light box that we've seen as well. You know, it's a very sort of finished product, kind of a glow oven where you could slide one disc in and light that disc, and that's another solution that we can show on screen right now. We did test that out as well. It worked great, but I found it to be a little bit bulky for only being able to light one disc. Does it work? Sure, absolutely it does. But it's quite bulky, and I didn't find, like, for the size of it, to be able to only light one, you know, that's where the advantage of something like this is, because it's so thin, you're already lighting 2, it's already doing more than that glow box. So these are an amazing solution, but I know for me, being a bit of a careless, like when I finish a shot and I go to put disc back, you know, my disc starts a round in order, but it doesn't end the round in that order. And I had to be very conscious of like where I was putting things, to the point where I didn't love the experience with these. I think for one, up in the putter pouch, it's great. And if you're someone that's meticulous, or you love the idea because you don't have a lot of room, you have a bag that's, you know, maybe you've got a small glow bag and you don't have a lot of real estate to have like a glow device in there, or you don't like carrying a flashlight, then I definitely think the Halo's got something going for it. I just found for myself, I really had to be really aware of like where these were in the bag in order for them to work. And it got to the point where, you know, I kept one up in the top, treated it like a glow oven, and otherwise, you know, I found like for the most part, I kind of ended up just preferring having a flashlight. Because the other thing about glow is if you're playing at night, depending on the course you're on, you know, if you're in the woods and it's a bit like unsure footing, it's kind of nice to just have a flashlight to just like light the ground around you so that you can see where you're going. Where, you know, this didn't remove the need for a flashlight. And the other thing is, if you're playing in the woods at night, you know, sometimes you got to throw that flashlight like up in the air to see if there's any branches coming out that you can't see. So, you know, I say having a flashlight is still very important. Now, this is a big flashlight, and I don't need maybe necessarily a big flashlight. I just need a small one to like be able to see where I'm going, or to be able to like light branches. And speaking of small flashlights, the very next day after filming, we got these little flashlights. They are from Lightbeam. They come as a 2-pack actually, in a box like this. They claim to be super bright, weather resistant, drop resistant. They actually have a little like zoom mechanism on the end that pops out and condenses, so you can actually focus the beam a little bit more. This is an amazing option, and we will actually leave a link down in the description to where you can grab one of these off of Amazon. And again, you're not going to pay any more for it, but it will help support our channel. And then the other piece was last winter, a few times you'd get out after a fresh snowfall, and if I couldn't find my disc, I could actually use the flashlight to light the snow, and it would actually pick up the glow of the disc under the snow. So a flashlight proved to be actually very useful for me, and because of that, I kept one halo up in the top here, but the idea of using 3 of them in the bag, I kind of pulled back on that idea. It just didn't work for me. It might work for you, but it didn't work for me. Let's move on. After the Halo, I stumbled upon another device, and this one was called the Galaxy. I found these guys on Facebook. I will leave a link to where you can get one of these there as well. Just quite a simple 3D print, but still very effective. What I liked about this, what stood out right away, it was a little bit thicker than the Halo. It was very obvious to see. Flip my switch over, and now you can see that this is lit up, and yeah, it worked really effectively as well. Now the negative to this particular device is that it does require the use of a power bank, and now I do have, you know, a longer wire here. But I wanted to share something else that I thought was interesting about this. So the gentleman that designed these, did so with the intent that this could reach a different audience than the Halo. The price point of the Halo I will leave on screen, but as you can see, they are a pricier device for either purchasing 1 or purchasing 3. And real big shout out to DiscInTheDark on this one, because DiscInTheDark actually mentored this little business that manufactures the Galaxy, recognizing that there was different audiences that the Halo was going to appeal to, and that the Halo was missing a part of the market that would find a less expensive option more appealing. So I just thought that was amazing, because again, you know, one of the things we love about disc golf is the community, is the people, and just, you know, the great people that do great things in the sport. This is our Halo here. You can kind of see it. I'll put it in front of my shirt, and you can kind of see the way that it glows here. Huge shout out to DiscInTheDark, because I think that's just such a cool thing. DiscInTheDark is doing amazing stuff in the sport right now, with basket lighting and even like fairway lighting I've just seen recently. So we're hoping to get our hands on some more of their products, because they really are doing amazing things. And when you hear from this company that's manufacturing this little 3D printed Galaxy that DiscInTheDark was mentoring them, that's just super cool. So huge shout out to that. Another little benefit to the Galaxy is when I kick this switch off, this is glow plastic. So, you know, in between shots, you can very, very much see the Galaxy in your bag. It's a little bit thicker, and it's very easy to see in between. So it stands out, which was a thing that, again, one of my critiques of the Halo was sometimes it was a bit hard to see them because they're so thin, they're so discreet in your bag, which is obviously a thing that they want that to be. But this did help a little bit with trying to find them in your bag. I mentioned earlier that the Halos are a different brightness, lit up permanently, because you can set it to glow just from flipping the switch on and off. But it gives you a dimmer light, and that is to conserve battery. And then I've got 2 of them here. I've got one set to about 5 seconds and one set to 10. I've got my remote right here. I realize I'm in the dark, but this is how we're going to do this. So hit the button, and you can see both of them lit up. That one's much shorter. And I had that one obviously a little bit longer. And if we hold these ones here, you know, sort of side by side, you can see the difference between them, even up against my shirt. and that one goes out, and this one stays on, a little bit dim. So a nice feature set to both, definitely. They, because they are programmable. So as I mentioned in our previous video, if you have some discs that aren't as bright of a glowing plastic, you would want to have this turned on longer. And if you had a disc that was bright, you could set it to have the light on for a shorter amount of time, essentially fitting your environment and your game. Now we're looking at another company. This one is from a company called NightRoundDiscGolf. And the first product we're going to look at is called the UV Loop. It's not exactly a combination of the Halo and the Galaxy, but I feel like there's some kind of similar design elements to both. First of all, it does require to be plugged in, but where the Galaxy went to the trouble of some additional 3D printing to try to do this spiral effect and give us glow plastic. The spiral effect is obviously to achieve the best amount of glow. And it's interesting because when I looked at this one, I would not have thought that this would glow a disc as well as this. But I did take a picture earlier, and as you can see, both of these discs, one was lit by the UV Loop and one was lit by the Galaxy, and it's fairly difficult to tell the difference between the two. Now, glow plastic does make this a nice option for obvious reasons. But the price point on these is quite nice. Again, I will leave a link on screen to their Etsy shop. Etsy is where you're going to find this one. And so we can light this one up, fire up the power bank, and now you can see this one here. And again, it is simply basically just a ring with UV LEDs on the inside of it. So quite minimalistic, and again, it would just simply sit up against a disc. And it's funny because the Halo went to the trouble of creating or providing this sort of translucent material. I think it's probably best if I put it in front of my shirt. This kind of shows it best. This sort of translucent material to try to help make the disc glow so that it picks up that UV light throughout. But you know, according to this design here, that is, you know, just hollow. It's just a ring. You can see right here, my hand can go right through it. But it does a really excellent job of lighting a disc without any material in the center, without a spiral. It works quite well, and I think this is the most inexpensive option for some sort of glow oven. And again, like the Halo, like the Galaxy, you can actually have discs on either side, and it's going to effectively light both discs. So this is, you know, a very, very compelling option at a really great price. And again, I would say the only negative being that it does require a power bank. There is a wire here that, you know, is kind of unavoidable, where that is the advantage of the Halo. You're paying for that very clean, very simple design where your battery is built in, nice and rechargeable. But truthfully, you know, I'm either recharging my Halo or I'm recharging my power bank. So I wouldn't say that there's an advantage either way there. You know, the Halo is giving me the option of a variety of brightness, and that is maybe a compelling piece for you. You may have seen this ring over here, and you may be seeing something in the bag there that's a little bit like, oh, what is that? Here is where we get to the good stuff. Save the best for last. Let me introduce you to the Helix from NightRoundDiscGolf. We have the Helix actually in my Pound Rufus. This bag here and this window for discs it holds, they claim, probably like 14 to 16 discs. So this is not a huge bag, but you know, traditionally most disc golfers will have a smaller glow bag than their regular bag. Now in my case, again, what I throw for glow is the same as what I'd throw on a day round, and I'm a big fan of this bag. If you didn't catch this video, I will leave a link down in the description to where you can watch my review of the Pound Rufus. To me, it might be the best disc golf bag I have ever come across. But anyway, to give you an idea of size, now this is the Helix in here right now. It is essentially a spiraled version of the UV loop. And what this does with a flat bottom, you can see here, I'll just move some of these other things out of the way. You can see that it sits flat on the ground, simply like this, or sits flat, I should say, either in your cart or in your bag. And it gives you the opportunity to slide a few discs in between these sections. And you can see here that I can throw, I've got a putter, I've got a fairway driver. Let's get myself a mid-range as well, a hex there, my glow hex. And you can already see that now I've got 3 discs inside here. And on top of that, I've got room on the outside of either side of this as well, meaning for the Mini, I can light 5 discs. And in the traditional Helix, I would have 7. So I can light 7 in the bottom here. And let's kick the lights off and show you what's possible here. Okay, so we're back in the dark here. We'll look at the Mini first because it's out. It's very easy to see here. Turn the button there, and we are in business. So this is with 3 discs here. Now, if it was inside your bag, you'd likely have discs on either side as well. If you throw a small glow bag, this is a great option. You can see that even the discs on the outside are lit up. So this essentially is glowing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 discs all at once. And the beauty of this device, very similar to what I was saying before, where the Halo I found a little bit frustrating because I didn't always know if I was putting my discs back in the right spot because they sat loose in the bag. This device is almost like disc organization for your glow round because there are preset slots where you put your discs. It guarantees that everything is lit up, and to me, this is the best option that I have seen yet. Let's light up the full Helix in the bag and show you what that looks like. All right, so this is gotta be the best setup I have seen yet for a glow bag. This whole bag right now essentially is lit. I've got 7 discs right now that are glowing, and with this being my Rufus, and it is a smaller bag, but there's still room, what I've got is a couple discs wedged in on the outside here on both sides. I actually have 2 discs on the outside on this side, so if I needed something that wasn't on the rack right now, on the glow rack of the Helix here, I could always just pull something out and basically turn things, you know, throw one of those into the middle, put this up top, or get it out of the way for right now, maybe give it a quick spin, and all of a sudden I have a disc that glows. Now this is my color glow again, so if you're like, oh, it doesn't look that bright, you can kind of see the difference here. I'll show you again the difference between the two, but you know, carrying a glow bag where everything is lit the whole time is kind of amazing. This is the coolest one I've ever seen, and if you're someone that's adamant about your glow rounds, this could definitely be of interest to you. This is got to be the coolest. Now, if I'm gonna critique one little thing about it, it's that it doesn't glow the disc completely evenly when the discs are sitting in there. It's not quite in there, but I think what happens too is as I'm playing my round, I might be pulling a disc out, I put it back in, things get moved around, and as discs get turned and as you're playing your round, you know, it's basically keeping things pretty lit up. And the cool thing too, which I've not been able to do before, you know, I've played a lot of glow, but it's usually, you know, the disc that you just threw is the disc that's glowing. And, you know, you might have a few discs in your bag that are kind of lit up, but even when I turn this off, if I flip the switch back, you know, now the light's off and my whole bag is still glowing. So if I've got a long walk to go to the next tee, you know, I could always flip the switch off if I'm trying to conserve battery. This, to me, has got to be, you know, the coolest glow solution that I have seen yet. And definitely leave a comment down below. I will leave a link to NightRoundDiscGolf's Etsy shop down in the comments. These are very cool, and again, keeps your discs organized. If you've got somewhere between 5 and 7 discs in your glow bag or more, this is quite an amazing option to have. Even from a safety perspective, when your whole bag is lit up, you know, like this, it's very easy to see that there's a group in front of you. You know, I've seen some guys put lights on their carts or lights on their bag. You know, sometimes it's hard to see the group in front of you, especially if you're playing in a glow league. With having your whole bag lit up like this, having seen all of this stuff, you know, the question kind of becomes like, what is your ideal setup? And I think for me right now, because we've been given sort of so many cool options, I love the idea of the full Helix down the bottom. The organization that it gives me is amazing, and having access to like my favorite glow discs is incredible. And then I mentioned it before, but I've got my halo here. It is on. I know my light's on right now, so you can't see it as well. But I do love the idea of having the halo up top with my throwing putter and my putting putter up top, and no wires to my putter pocket. It's a very minimalist approach. But if I'm already using a wire, this little guy right here, for the price point, you kind of can't beat it. And I think it's really incredible, because seeing the efforts that the Halo went to make this, you know, material here that actually is intended to sort of grab some of that UV, to filter the UV throughout, you know, the effect of that with this, where there's absolutely nothing in the center, you know, the effect of the glow on both of these was very similar. So this is actually, you know, quite a bit cheaper of an option if you don't mind the wires. And you know, personally, I don't. Obviously, with this Helix or this Helix Mini, I think it's amazing that they've given two options. Installation either into a cart or into a bag was extremely simple. You could buy one Helix, or, you know, depending on the sizing, you know, you could probably put two minis side by side if you didn't, you know, if there wasn't an issue with, you know, you had a power bank that could handle that if you needed more space. But these are incredible for, you know, for the user experience of not thinking about, you know, where your discs are going back into your bag. This is as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned. Leave a comment down below if you're interested in these. Again, I've got descriptions to all of these lighting solutions down in the description. A huge thank you to DiscInTheDark for sending us the Halo. You know, these guys are doing like next level things and really trying to get creative and push the boundaries of glow disc golf. If you haven't been to their website, they've got basket lighting that's a rechargeable. They've got a solar powered light, and they claim that if that basket has access to essentially full sun throughout the day, that even on its highest setting, it will still be lit in its highest setting by dawn the next day. So very interesting product, a rechargeable option. They even sell a bag with a collection of charging cables for 9 holes. You could set up a glow league very easily with this bag, and the price on those appears to be, you know, quite reasonable. We're going to actually do another video talking about basket lighting solutions as well. That is still to come. So if you're interested in a series on glow disc golf, please consider subscribing. A huge thank you to NightRoundDiscGolf, and of course, our friends over manufacturing the Galaxy. Very cool to see all of these different products coming together. You know, again, the sport, as it evolves and as elements of it, you know, even quirky ones like glow that I love so much, it's great to see people coming out kind of pushing the boundaries with some different devices. So definitely check out some of those links down below. Let those companies know that Local Disc Golf sent you over there. And if there's something that I've forgotten in the realm of glow that you'd like to see a video on, leave that down in the comments as well. want to say a huge thanks for checking out this video, for our subscriber base growing. We're so close to 1,000. Let's keep going. Your support is amazing. We really appreciate it. And as always, my name is Ryan. This is Local. We are local.